Hello world. Well, I'm back. And I'm back here to have a discussion. I'm quite upset right now. For those who don't know me, my name is Dre Patterson. I am a single mother of 4. 2 of my children are on the autism spectrum. So I'm getting right to the point, sorry. So 2 of my children are on the autism spectrum and they go to special classes. So they have to go to a separate school because the class, they need smaller classes, and unfortunately that is not available at their home school. My school is, I deal with the Toronto District School Board. Both my son's schools are in Scarborough, and I live on the Scarborough-North York borderline. So I do not drive. So what I am here to talk today about is this busing system. I have had it up to here, probably beyond, through the roof with this busing system. I have been a reasonable parent with this busing system. My son stands outside almost every day for more than half an hour because of this busing system. Okay, the busing system that I am speaking about is stock transportation, which I am shocked. My sons have been going to school. I've been dealing with the bus since my second born was in grade 2. So I've been dealing with this busing system since for a good 4 years now, and this is the absolute worst that I've dealt with, and I've had enough. So I've decided to make a video today to see if there are other parents that are going through what I'm going through, because I've actually just written a note to CP24 about this, because this is unfair. I stay home. I do not work. I have a disability myself. So I'm kind of lucky in a sense. I consider myself lucky. But my heart goes out to any parent that is working. If this has happened to you, please let me know. Please, 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 because this is absolutely ridiculous. And it seems like the schools can't do anything about it because the transportation is a third-party service. And yes, while I appreciate that we have services available for my son, this is not worth it. School started in September. We are now in January. Also, if the tables were turned and it was the parent doing this stuff, the parent not getting their kid to school on time, guess who's calling the police or child services for the parent, regardless of the situation? So where's the accountability? Who takes accountability for this? At this stage of the game, in my opinion, the service is so bad that they should just stop it altogether until they can figure it out. Because there is no reason why small children should be standing outside in the freezing cold for hours on end. And that's the thing. Today, there was no I did my due diligence as a parent. Oh, I did. I checked online. I checked the busing portal to see where the buses were. For 1 minute, it gave me an error. So I was like, okay, maybe my son doesn't have a bus. So I focused on that. Now, I also have 2 other sons that go to a homeschool. So I can't be in 2 places at once. So I go to take my kids to school, my 2 small children to school. I come back and I see my son is still standing outside from when I sent him a half an hour prior. Freezing. There's more safety issues here. There's more problems here. With the busing, my situation, I understand, is that you can't drive into my unit specifically. So my son has to go outside to the front of our complex, and there is a store there. So he goes outside and he waits there by the side of the road for the bus with no shelter or anything. He cannot come back to my house or to this house, our house, because he's not going to be able to see the bus, and the bus will not see him. So while I do get that this busing system normally goes based off of a house, if you live in a house and it's on the side of the road and I can see it, but this is not that situation. And even if it was that situation, we're in January now. I have not received any kind of answers. There's been a point last year, like at the end of the year, where I was demanding for them to give me a cab. I was demanding for them to call me. I was demanding for them to get a bus driver. When there's a bus driver out there, you can call me and I will walk my son out there, because my son's not standing outside for an hour in the freezing freaking cold. And this is what he does. I am livid this morning because I called the transportation company at 8:30 because I thought I did my due diligence. I seen that there was a bus en route. So I call to be told that there's no bus at all. So I asked to speak to the manager. It was the district manager that I was speaking to, apparently. And she told me, no, we're too busy. He will call you back. Now I understand that. He will call me back. I understand that. I get that. But this is beyond. And naturally, this was the first time that this is happening. So I'm annoyed. Very annoyed. Because I've always been able to get through to him. But this is the district manager. And so she says, well, there's nothing I can do. You're going to have to wait for a phone call. At that point, I broke down because I am defeated. Defeated. I broke down because my son, and now my son is sitting here seeing his mother upset. I don't know if I said this before, but with my disability, I suffer anxiety and depression. I have anxiety every morning because of this busing system. I am almost to the point of pulling my son from his program. My son is on the autism spectrum. He needs a smaller class. But this is just as bad as him being in a large class. At least he can actually get taught a lesson. At least he can actually be in the atmosphere of a school rather than being outside for hours on end, waiting to see if a bus is going to come. I've had issues with the drivers. When they come to pick up my son, they have an attitude. And I'm a very understanding person. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I've worked customer service when I was working. That was my profession. Professional customer service. Premier customer service. That's my profession. So while everybody might be mad and angry, we need to understand that these are children that are dealing with this. The driver was very frustrated. He was like, where's the store? Da, 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 asking me questions to the point where I had to slam the door open because he was going to close it on me. When I asked him for his name, he told me at once. I forgot because we were going back and forth. I said, what is your name again? He said, I already told you, and went to close the door. I slammed the door open. I said, we're not going anywhere. And I called the transportation and I spoke to Chris, the manager, at that point. Because again, I understand you must have millions of angry parents. I don't work. I would have lost my job by now, because you can't be working and then just not show up and then sit there and be like, oh, well, you know, it's because my son's bus isn't here. Yes, I don't drive and I don't have access to a vehicle. So I cannot take my son to that school. Also, on one hand, why should I have to when his homeschool doesn't have the proper programming for his class? Why? Why should I have to do that? And why should I have to make my son suffer by putting him back into a quote unquote normal class because of this inconsistency with the bus? As I said, at this point, I feel it's better that I pull him from his program that he's excelling in and put him into a regular class where he's probably going to fail. But that is, to me, At least he can learn a little something rather than not being sent to school every day because the buses don't know how to do their job properly or don't have proper organizational skills. There's no reason for this. I thought to myself to even volunteer my time to call parents because they're not calling parents in the morning and letting them know. Well, today they didn't. And there's been other days where they haven't. I think they make sure to call me because they know that I've been through the ringer with them. And I've been nothing but understanding with them. I haven't even talked to them like how I'm talking in this video, except for the last couple of interactions, because I tell them as it gets colder, the more upset I am going to get. And I am very upset right now. Very, very upset. So I want to know if there are other parents that are going through this with Stock Transportation or any of the transportation companies. Because my other son's transportation company is for a student. And there is a dispatcher there that is extremely rude. And I went off on that because I am a very understanding parent. When they call me and they tell me there's buses late or whatever, I'm like, okay, fine. Thank you for letting me know. But if I have a job, I'm going to freak out. And I will probably lose that job. So where does that leave me and my children? This is supposed to be for the betterment of my child. It's not good for him to see his mother upset like this either. It's not good for him to be outside in the freezing cold along the side of the road. Again, that is a safety hazard. It's definitely a safety hazard right now because of how consistent they've been with not picking up my son on time. So if you have a kidnapper or somebody that wants to steal a child, all they have to do is scope him out all day, every day. They know he's out there for half an hour by himself. So I am trying to take a stand here. As I said, if there are other parents that are going through this, please let me know. I've contacted CP24 and I will be doing a follow-up with this because I am beyond, and I think I've been patient enough as a parent. We're coming into the second term of school. There should be no reason for this. The only thing I can say, this is the first year that I've dealt with this out of the 4 years. Normally, the first month of school is crazy and these things happen because they're trying to organize, and that's understandable. But now, for instance, last month, my son was sick for 2 weeks. I swear to God, my son's probably been to school since September, maybe about 40 days. And that's not really an exaggeration. All due to the bus. And yes, there are a lot of things that I can do to work around things, but this is not fair. And again, most parents are working parents. This is not fair to us. It's not fair to our kids. It's a problem that needs to get fixed now. So again, anybody going through this, please send me a message, make a video, because I'm tired of it and I hope something gets done. I really do, because I feel defeated as a parent. I don't know where to go next. If anybody has any information of where I can go next, that would be helpful as well. But thank everybody for listening and have a good day and better days ahead.